To hand load or not to hand load? That is the question. Forgive me, Shakespeare, but that's the best I could come up with. Hey, Ron Spomer here, and I always get questions about hand loading. Is it worth the trouble? Boy, I think it is. We've got 10 good reasons why you might want to hand load. Stay tuned to this episode of Ron Spomer Outdoors. Okay, 10 good reasons why you should hand load plus one extra benefit for a round number of 11. Number one, all these tools. What handyman doesn't want more tools? Here's your excuse to buy a bunch of them. We'll go over those eventually in some of our videos on rsotv.com, where we're going to get into a whole primer and probably an in-depth demonstration of hand loading. And we're going to cover the presses and the scales and the powder measures and the trimmers and the neck trimmers and the calipers and all the tools that we get to use to create our own custom ammunition. And that brings us to our top 10 list. Number one, save money. Can you really save money by hand loading? Absolutely. Right now, it's around 50, some say as much as 60%, but of course, it always depends on where you buy your stuff. You've got to have components to load. That means primers, powder, and bullets, primarily. You get your brass every time you shoot. You got your brass. You don't throw it away. There's your big money savings right there. So number one, yes, you should be able to save about half on your ammo costs. Now, that really won't pan out because you're going to end up shooting twice as much because it's so much fun. And you've got your hand loads. I mean, it's just really special. I equate it to tying your own flies for fishing. It's just extra sweet to catch a fish on a hand-tied fly. And let me tell you, taking a big buck with your own handmade ammunition is pretty much a treat too. So the second really good reason, it's just probably a better reason than the saving money one, and that's improving accuracy. The thing with factory ammunition is that one size fits all. You buy that particular round for your rifle, and it has to fit every other rifle out there. And there are always subtle differences between chambers and barrels in rifles. So your rifle might have a little bit tighter throat than the next guy's, or a tighter chamber, et cetera, et cetera. They have to make this cartridge minimal so it fits everyone's. Well, when you hand load, you can tailor the way you resize your cases, trimming your necks, trimming the length of the case, getting the tension for your bullet seating pressures, tailoring the best primer for the particular load you're building. You'd be amazed at how a primer can make difference in accuracy as well as velocity. And then, of course, the bullet and the powder. You put it all together and you can make some really incredible strides to improving your accuracy. Trust me, I have easily cut in half the group size by hand loading. And many folks will say, you know, I had a rifle that would only shoot 2-inch groups and I played around with hand loads and I'm down to half MOA. That's pretty impressive stuff. So if you are looking to really shoot some fine precision, you might want to hand load. Number three, greater bullet selection. You know, I don't want to denigrate today's ammo manufacturers because they are absolutely doing a better job than they've ever done before. They're offering so many more options in bullets that you can generally find what you need, but not always. There are some boutique bullet makers out there, some new brands coming online that really make some exceptional bullets, like hammer bullets right here. I don't know of any manufacturer loading hammer bullets, but boy, after playing around with them and testing them on deer, I'd sure be looking for some because they really work well. Cutting edge bullets, Black Hills, no, I don't know if Black Hills has any, but Badlands Precision in Yankton, South Dakota has some. I mean, there's just all kinds of new bullet people coming out with some grand ideas and plans, and they might work out beautifully for your style of hunting or target shooting or just your particular rifle. So you got a hand load to get a lot of those bullets. Great, you can create ammo for obsolete cartridges and hard to find. Now, anybody out there shoot a .284 Winchester? Don't find a lot of loads for that, do you? I think Winchester offers one 150 grain load, the last I saw, and it was a PowerPoint bullet, which isn't exactly cutting edge. But a lot of guys are using the .284 now with longer bullets for precision target shooting at long range, and they all have to hand load. But if you've got a beautiful old, say, a Winchester 88 rifle in .284 Winchester, great hunting rifle if you can find good ammunition for it. And of course, back to the bullets again. If you want to use some of the best bullets today, you're probably going to have to hand load that one. You can go on down the list of all these obscure cartridges: 6.5 millimeter Remington Magnum, 350 Remington Magnum, and the list goes on and on. 225 Winchester. There are so many cartridges that are either obsolete or on the fringe of becoming obsolete that you just can't find good ammo for it. But you can if you hand load. Now you can load Ackley Improved and Wildcat cartridges. You can find a few Ackley Improved cartridges on the market. I'm specifically thinking of the 280 AI. That one has been sort of commercialized and legitimized, but most AIs you cannot. And if you like to play around with rifles and create a little bit improved cartridge, Ackley Improved is an easy way to do it, because you can use your standard rifle and just have a gunsmith ream the chamber out to fit the new AI brass, take the factory AI brass, shoot it in that rifle if the headspace remains the same, tell your gunsmith, and then you've got your brass to load. And the big thing about AIs is that the brass will last longer. You'll get more reloads out of it because there's less neck stretching, and you don't have to trim as often. And yeah, you'll pick up a little increase in velocity, usually 50 to 100 feet per second. But the big thing, I think, for most AI shooters is that longer case life. Wildcat cartridges, obviously you have to be a hand loader if you're going to mess around with those, because no factories are going to be cranking out ammunition for Wildcat cartridges. That is pretty much guaranteed. If you've got a Wildcat cartridge and rifle chamber, you're going to be a hand loader. Now, more velocity. Too many people think they want to get into hand loading so they can really increase the velocity of their cartridges. Generally you can't, but sometimes you can. Here are those times. Some older cartridges like the 4570 and the 757 Mauser, maybe the 65x55 Swede, rounds that have been with us since, gosh, the 1890s or even the 1880s. Those were originally built in some pretty weak rifles before we really started having the finest, strongest steels and the strongest actions. We had some pretty shady options out there. So the ammunition is loaded down in power so you don't blow up one of those old rifles. Factories pretty much have to do that. You just can't be selling ammunition that's going to blow somebody's rifle up. Now, there's not a lot of them, but there are some famous ones, and one is that 4570. And as an example, in this hand loading manual from Hornady, they give recipes depending on your rifle, not just the 4570. So this one says 4570 Government 1895 Marlin. That's a lever action Marlin rifle. That's pretty strong. So they increase the powder capacities and the velocities of that. But the original 4570 Government trapdoor Springfield rifle, that was the real weak one for which it was originally loaded. And that's why the pressures are so low on that. I think they're down around 45,000 PSI. Don't quote me on that, but it's low. Unlike some of the high pressure cartridges today, like the 270, 65,000. So there's a big difference there. And then they also have a special category in here for a Ruger number 1, which was an incredibly strong falling block single shot action. So 4570 Government, Ruger number 1, you really get your velocities up. I haven't even looked to see what the differences would be. Let's do that real quick. The original trapdoor Springfield, top load for a 300 grain bullet, you get 1900 feet per second. In the 4570 Government Ruger number 1, top load with, they don't even have a 300 grain bullet, they've got a 350. But even with 50 more grains in that bullet, you're getting 300 feet per second more velocity. So you can see just a lot more performance that way. Hand loading is the way to do it. It's educational and instructive. When you start hand loading, you start learning a lot of things about guns and ammo and ballistics. Pressures being one of them, bullet seating depth being another. There's just all kinds of little details that you don't necessarily even think about or hear about if you just buy factory ammunition. When you're loading your own, you really start to understand this relationship between the chamber dimensions and the throat length and the rifling twist rate and what you're building and shooting for better performance. And I mean, I don't know, it's not probably going to put a bigger buck on the wall or more moose meat in the refrigerator or anything like that, but there's just a certain satisfaction that comes with knowing something. similar to, let's say, an automobile. We can all drive our cars around, and when they break down, hire somebody to fix them. But the guys who know a few things about automobiles and how to repair things, back when I was a kid, it was rebuild your carburetor or put in a new tranny or a higher ratioed rear end or anything mechanical like that that gave you the satisfaction. And then if some strange noise starts clunking under the hood, you can assess what that is and get it right. Oh, you feel like you're really somebody, eh? So it's similar to that. It just is educational and informative. And actually, it can help you shoot better, because when you begin to understand what makes a load, a cartridge, and a bullet shoot better in a particular rifle, you can make selections that allow you to do that with your rifles. You might have an old rifle that never was much for shooting and start hand loading for it and turn it into a tack driver. All right, number 9, you can become a better shot. And believe you me, you should. Because as I said earlier, when you hand load and save all that money, you tend to shoot a lot more. And when you shoot a lot more, you tend to become a better shot. You can afford to go out and practice and train. And even when I was, say, a kid just learning to shoot, just by sitting on the bench and testing loads and figuring out which one was going to work best in my particular rifle, I became a better shot. I got used to the recoil. I got used to the whole process. I started to learn to pull that trigger properly and not jerk it and everything else that goes with repetition. So a lot to be said for that. Then number 10, satisfying hands-on creations. Again, we're getting back to that tool work. If you're someone who likes to build things, create things, work with your hands, work with tools, boy, you're going to have a lot of tools with which to work when you hand load. So that's the lowdown on hand loading. I definitely recommend it. I still shoot a lot of factory ammunition. Just because you're a hand loader doesn't mean you can't. And sometimes it's just convenient to pick up some ammunition somewhere. You get a good deal on it. Even if you, let's say you find some ammo that nobody's buying and you can pick it up for what would be a half price. Imagine that in this day and age. Half price today would be like double price 10 years ago. But at any rate, you save a little money there, shoot those up for practice, and then you've got brass to load up your favorite accurate load for hunting or whatever you want to do with it. So just a lot to recommend hand loading. If you're thinking about it at all, definitely first place to start is with some of these hand loading manuals. They've got all the instructions in the front, and you can look at some of these recipes and see the velocities and compare them to what you're getting with your current factory ammunition and maybe give you some ideas and inspire you to jump in. I would certainly recommend it. Hey, this is Ron Spomer. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to the channel if you can and hit that like button. It sure helps us out. And we want to thank our patrons for their support. If you'd like to join us on Patreon, go to patreon.com. Ron Spomer Outdoors, and we'll sign you up. And you can catch us on rsotv.com, where we're going to be doing a whole series on all aspects of hand loading, as well as other gunsmithing and shooting and scope mounting and all that kind of fun stuff, and some new hunts coming up. So you can join us there as well. We have another channel. It's RSO on YouTube. Those are our podcasts where we answer questions from everyone. And we'll sometimes read old magazine articles or tell stories about the hunts we've enjoyed over the years. And believe you me, there have been a lot of years. Hey, thanks for listening. Hunt honest and shoot straight.